Hello, dear friends. This is John Butler, and you're about to listen to a podcast called Running the River. This is a new podcast that I have put together with my dear friend Dingo Spender. He may recall helped me with the last podcast I made for my album Home. Here again, we deconstruct and get under the skin and get our hands dirty in the substrate soil of what I was envisioning for this latest ambient album. This is an album I made for wellness practitioners and practitioners alike to defrag and decompress in this very busy, fast, and quick world. And we hope you enjoy as we take you up, down, and across the river. This is Running the River.
So, let's go a little bit deeper on the intros to your songs.
So, yeah, always mucked around with that Eastern and Celtic. I mean, even blues does it. You know, there's like these meandering intros that kind of set a mood and a feel. And so, like, you know, even acoustically, you know, for example, you know, even when I was learning with Debashish, for example, you know, like the intros are kind of important, you know, and then you'd go into the raga. But like, for example, you know, this esque, you know, as I said, I bastardize and mongrel everything. So this is there's no strict modality about what I'm doing, but these kind of things. Yeah, so I mean the Celtic stuff is much the same as the Indian stuff, at least how I approach it. As I said, I'm no aficionado. How do you say that word?
Aficionado.
I'm no aficionado on any of it. So you know, what would that be? And it's like, you know, I mean and it's Celtic-esque, you know. If I was doing an intro, it'd be, you know, just kind of very similar to like the Indian stuff in a way, you know. But then instantly I start bringing in Debashish stuff and it turns into Celtic Indian, I don't know, whatever. So yeah. It's very much the same. But if you're doing even blues, if you're starting a blues song, you know. So it's all the same. I think, you know, probably most practices, you know, or most styles of music have that kind of thing. Or maybe instrumental music, maybe.
Yeah, so show us like how you make these guitar beats and lay down this bed.
Yeah, so I think I said earlier on, like, once I decided I got the arc of the seasons and had some context, it was like things started falling into place really quickly. So I just kind of, this is like my little mini rig that I use for real small, you know, doing benefits and stuff. And but it was something even smaller than this in my living room. I just sat there and kind of wrote most of the music really quickly. And it kind of started just with like, you know, literally on a heartbeat, and so, as simple as possible, you know. So something to play over, something to kind of create a bed with. So it's like, you know. And then create some ambient, some, you know, like, that'd be the basis, really, you know. and that would like that's kind of how I wrote most things. Like even if you, like sometimes I would slow down the delay a bit, and then just literally just on the spot be like. So there's like a whole delay pedal like on the bridge pickup, so I run 2 pickups, and this guy's picking up the body, and this guy's picking more of the amp, just to bring in extra grunt when needed. And so maybe one song might just be a little bit more like and all of them are like based around this heartbeat, like not getting fancy with the beats at all, so just kind of like. Let's make it slower. Wait, what's that? That's feedback. Let's actually go slower, John. Oh, that's faster. Let's try this one. Okay, so a lot of times, like, okay, I want this to be calming, slow, and in the practice of making it, it sent me to new places to really get mindful, because there was no way I could be anywhere else but in these very slow rhythms. So like something like this, for example. What we got here? We're like. What would I do next? Maybe I go. So I do. Yeah, that's the song off the album. Say takare. And just the practice of having to play that slow and just like was amazingly therapeutic. It was totally healing for me just to play that slow, bring the nervous system down away from something like, like like whoa, which is great and super warrior and great, but there's a whole other idea of warrior that's calm and and so I made a lot of these songs 10 minutes, 15 minutes so you could be used for like a practice. Like TM does 20 minutes, and some of the breathing exercises are 15 to half hour, and I was like, how can I make this, it's Shavasana after yoga. It's like you sit for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and so I was writing, I'd make a loop on the beat, and then I'd play this chord progression for 10 minutes. And I often pluck different every time, but these songs wanted repetition, trance-like headspace. So it's just, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's it, the whole time. Like that's it, and then And doing that for 10 minutes, like, was an extremely calming thing, a very simple thing, very trance-like thing. And a lot of times we'd listen back and we'd both be nodding off. And that was like, yes, we're doing the right job, because, yeah, it was about bringing the nervous system down. So that was kind of how it was built. And I just made most of the songs, other than Watu song and chant and pray for my people, and the flute kind of breathing cedar instrumental. They were mostly built this way, and that quickly sometimes, and then in the studio we could elaborate and stretch out, and David would have a suggestion of maybe, and that's how it started. We literally set up a whole room with a PA that would just make, put the beat in the room and record that whole beat in a big ambient space, not just through a DI. And then, I'd play to that, and we'd have nice mics on my guitar, but then this whole thing, or at least this part, it would all be going on in another room as well through a PA system. So mics and this PA system, and Dave just did this amazing job at capturing like the three-dimensionality of the sonics, and that space actually really adds to the sound. I mean, yes, there's delays and there's reverbs, but there's also this cavernous space that all the sound has been able to envelop in. So yeah, that's kind of the techie world and the kind of the birthplace of it. A big part of that was Dave Mann, which we've kind of gone into before, just like how amazing he is as an individual and the sounds he pulled, and also just a really great this crow, this wardang, they call it wardang in Wadandi Wangi, and that there's a crow that's on a song. So interesting. We had a whole bunch of mics up in the recording room that was recording the PA. And then I was in the monitor room with him with the mics on my guitar, and this wardang was kept on crowing through the whole song, and it ended up becoming the name of the song, Flight of the Crow, because he just was just there, coming at knocking on the window.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Is it the crow? Is it the get out of bed crow?
It's the get out of bed crow. Yes.
Can I share?
Yes, please do.
So I've stayed quite a number of times in your studio. Not necessarily because we've been doing music, but I've also, I've done a lot of time in that room.
Yes.
And there's this crow, this wardang, that has this compulsion at the crack of dawn pretty much every day, and he comes up to the glass and he just pecks it, and it's like quite loud, like he goes bang, 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 and then wah, wah, and then you wait a minute, and then 3 knocks again. And he does that. He's been doing that for years.
He has been doing it for years. And
what's his story?
Who are they? I mean, that's a big question. I'm always similar to when dogs don't like you, and you're like, what do they see that I don't see? Like, I'll take that personally. I always take it a little personally when the crow just finds the room I'm in, when the whole house is empty, and goes with his beak. Yeah, it's so hard as well. Like, his beak must be. Yeah, well,
tough.
they I don't know what the dreaming stories are for other places, but what I've been shared with from Uncle Wayne and his son Isaac is, there's a vanity story. There's a vanity dreaming kind of story about kind of being obsessed with their image and having this whole kind of war with it. And the fact, I think it was actually like this. I don't recall the story exactly, but like the reason why the crow and the magpie are the way they are is because they were fighting. They're both really big, bold energies that were fighting to be the most beautiful, and they got in a fight, and they actually got burnt in the flames, and that's why the crow is black, and that's why the magpie Kobardi, as they call it in Southwest, is black and white. But I don't know the intricacies of that story. But yeah, old Wardong came and knocked at pretty interesting times during the whole thing. And you can pick it up because the studio's not soundproof. Like this, my monitor room is-ish.
Yeah.
But the main room
Live.
isn't, we live in the country, you don't need a lot of it. And so there's a lot of bird sounds on the album that were captured. We're capturing this PA doing this guitar beat, and then I'm playing over the top of it. We have like a pickup that's with a delay that's being played through a PA in a very big room with high ceilings, and then these mics on. And so like everything's kind of getting picked up, but there's all this space, and there's a few birds in there. And Dave just got an amazing sound, a really great sound. And then from there, and also just an amazing individual, very gentle and humble and thoughtful individual to work with, which was really great. It felt really, excuse the catchphrase, but it felt safe, And then we took it to James Newhouse, an amazing engineer, producer, mixer, and we sat for a few days and mixed it. So Dave and I worked for 10 days on the album, just doing all the stuff. And then I went to James Newhouse, and he's fantastic. And also, once again, a very amazing, gentle, humble, badass, and sweetheart of an individual. Went to his home studio there, or the studio that he has in his home, a really great studio. And then we got Zeno Mikare to master it. And I got Zeno's name because he did all the Nils Fram stuff, which is music I just love to listen to. Speaking of soothing,
me too,
frayed nervous systems. And so, that was the team. That was the sonic team that brought that to life.